Hey guys, this is the fifth video for the e-commerce with Golang project backend series. In the past, or in the previous video, we created these controller functions and we'll come back to them later. And I know I was supposed to write the function definitions for these functions, but I realized that there's something better that we can do in this video. And that's creating the database setup, which is basically this file, the database setup.go file, is going to have the connection with your program in the database. So we can work on that, and we'll work on some functions. At least we'll write the basic definition of the functions for our cart.go file in the database package. Basically, so you'll have the cart.go file in controllers, and there will be these functions, right, for controller. But all of these functions will have a 1:1 relationship with your database functions. And this is the reason why I want to create all those functions for the database file right now, or like write the empty definitions of those functions rather than actually working on these, because I want you to know that I want to show you that there is a 1:1 relationship between all the functions that we'll have with controllers package with the actual database functions that we'll call the database with. All right. So first, let's head over to our cart.go file and we'll call this package controllers. It'll have some import statements, obviously. And here I'll define some errors. So I'll come back to this in just 2 minutes. I'll define like 5-6 different types of errors here. The functions that I'll have, first function will be func add product to cart. Okay. The next function that I'll have will be remove item from cart. So function remove cart item, and third function will be buy item from cart, func buy item from cart, and lastly we'll have the instant buyer function. So func instant buyer. Okay. Now when you head over to cart.go for controllers, you'll see that you have an add to cart function, remove item, get item from cart, buy from cart, instant buy. And that's what basically you're trying to do here. Makes sense? So now let me define all these functions, the errors here for var. So the first error that will have error can't find the product. So this is how I recommend you always in your projects, you define your own custom errors, because it becomes very easy for you to find those errors then as they happen in the project. So this is a really good practice. In the slightly more advanced type of project series like this one, it's not fully advanced because when it's serverless microservices and like just pure microservices and Kubernetes, Docker involved, I call those projects kind of advanced. This one is, I would say, intermediate to advanced project. And in these kind of projects, I usually keep these kind of self-defined error messages. So you'll have error because you just don't want to see internal server error everywhere, right? So you'll have can't decode products. At least basically you want at least some semblance of what's going on in your system so that you can at least fix that error faster. Error can't update the user and can't remove the item from the cart. Error can't buy, can't get item. And error can't buy cart item. So wherever you're interacting with the database, right, where the database is involved and you're trying to perform some operation on the database and something that doesn't go through, you need to have an error for handling that. So you're trying to update a user, you have to have an error can't update a user. I mean, that function, that the process with the database didn't go through, right? Similarly, you're trying to remove something from the item, from the cart, remove some item from the cart, doesn't go through with the database function. You want to have an error for that as well. All right. And here, everything will be basically errors.new with brackets. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this very fast everywhere. And then we're going to define the actual text that I want in those errors so that when I see those errors, I can at least know what's happening. And these errors that we'll define in those two inverted commas will be very human readable errors, right? For humans. Errors should always be for humans. So we'll have can't find the product. And again, you'll have can't find the product. Then you have the user. This user is not valid. Cannot add the product to the cart. Let's make it this product to the cart. And here you'll have cannot remove this item from the cart, and was unable to item from the cart, and cannot update the purchase. Now that we've defined these errors, we can easily use them between our functions when we work with the database functions. All right, so the next file that I want to work with is my database setup.go file, which is pretty important. It's again part of the database package. It will have its own import statements. And the most important function here in this file is dbset function, which basically sets the connection between your program and the database. And what you want this function to do is basically return a Mongo client, right? Because we're working with MongoDB. And this file will have two more functions. Since we have user data, which is separate in a separate collection, product data is in a separate collection. So we want to have a function that gets user data and a function that gets product data. The user data basically takes something called as a client, and we'll define this soon. It's going to be mongo.client, comma, and we'll pass the collection name. So in this case, the collection name that we'll pass, collection name, will be users collection. And for product data, the collection that we'll pass will be the product collection. Okay. And what this returns is mongo.collection. So mongo.collection star mongo.collection. Now let me complete the dbset function. Otherwise, you might think that we're just writing function definitions and we're not actually creating the insights of the function. Don't worry about that. I mean, when we create the empty functions, it just gives us a great roadmap to follow along, right? But just so that you don't think that, I'll at least create the insights or write the function definition for the dbset function so that we get somewhere at least. Now the way to create a client is like this. So you take a variable called client and you take a variable called error, where you can handle the error if the client does not get created. And you use the Mongo package that we'll import soon. Actually, let's do that right now. Let's say go.mongodb.org/mongo-driver/mongo. Okay. And let me also get the options package. So let's say go.mongodb.org/mongo-driver/mongo/options. Okay. So this is when I say Mongo, I'm talking about the external package called Mongo. And when I say Mongo.newClient, newClient is the function that's provided to us by this package called Mongo. Make sense? Here you'll say options.client.apply URI, which is basically the URL that you will get for your MongoDB. In my case, I'm going to have localhost 27017, but you could have anything else, not a problem. Okay. When I say anything else, I mean that you might be using some external MongoDB client, like a fully managed MongoDB service, and that's completely all right if you have that. So whenever we call a function like this, which has a high chance of getting an error, we always capture the error and we handle the error in the next line itself. So we'll say if error not equal to nil, log dot fatal error. Now when you said log dot fatal, that automatically means you have to import the log package. Okay. Now let's worry about the context for the database. So we'll say context dot with timeout. When you say context, as soon as you say context, you want to import the context package, right? So we'll say context dot with timeout, context dot background, comma, time dot second. So we're basically giving it a timeout, right? So if you work with PHP, if you work with PHP, MySQL, those kind of technologies, you know that there's always a timeout whenever you're trying to work with any database function. Otherwise, you don't want the complete program to get blocked because of this function. And you want defer cancel. And now let's connect. So you'll use the client that you just created here, and you want to connect. So you connect CTX, and you want to, if there's a possibility of error, you want to capture that error and you want to handle that error right here itself. So if error is not equal to nil, we'll again log dot fatal error. Now that you have probably connected using the context, you've probably connected with your client, and the client you've created here, which is the Mongo new client. Now you want to test whether it's connected or not. So what you'll say is you'll say client.ping, again a function that's given to us, and then we'll say, sorry, the ping has a capital P, and we'll say context dot to comma nil, and error is equal to. Again, anything to do with the client, which is the database, you know, you're trying to ping the database, anything to do that with that might lead to an error. You want to handle the error. If error is not equal to nil, you want to say log dot println failed to connect to MongoDB. You can even make a sad smiley if you want right here, and you want to return nil from this function. If all goes well, there were no issues, then you want to say fmt dot print error. Now that you're calling fmt, you want to import fmt also here. So we'll say fmt. Make sense? So fmt successfully connected to MongoDB, and you want to return the client. You're returning nil if there were some issues and errors, but if everything went well, you just want to return the Mongo client, which is what we're expecting out of this function. Now that this function is done, I want to create a variable called client, which is of type mongo.client, and you call the dbset function here itself. And whatever gets returned from here, you want to capture that in this variable called client with a capital C. So I hope everything makes sense. And now that you have, we have created the complete database setup.go file as well. We are getting somewhere, right? We have the functions all listed down for the controllers for our card.go database file as well. We have the database setup, as in the connection to the database sorted. We have our routes sorted. We have our models sorted, right? Middleware isn't going to be much. It's just going to have some authentication related functions. That's about it. Main.go file is already almost sorted. And that's great, you know, so everything is going well. So thanks a lot. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Do subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because you get such awesome content. And I have more than 100 videos of Golang on my channel, so do check them out as well. Keep learning, and I'll see you. Bye.